Shalom and good day all. This is Tehillim29 back again for another Fool's Gold review. As you can see on the side there of how I actually run Fool's Gold, and it's linked to the currency conversion and how much I think the story, art and cover are worth, as well as the key rating. So let's get to it. Starting off with the cover. For the rating, it is going to get a 7 out of 10. How much do I think this cover is worth? About $2. Why? Because we do actually get to see this scene in the comic. Now let's move into the internal art. I'll show you some art at the beginning there, just next. Alright, this is some art at the beginning. A lot of word bubbles there, which slightly degrade the story, I must admit. And it doesn't need to be as much, but I can get to that later. Now let's move to some art towards the middle. This is more like it, what we need to see more of in the story, with less bubbles, less word bubbles. So far, pretty consistent. And finally, of course, towards the end. So, the rating for the internal art is a 5 out of 10. Now, how much do I think both the internal art and the cover are worth? For the internal art, I think it's worth about $1.50, and for the cover, I think it's worth about $2 in Australian. Moving on to the last thing, the story. Did this story cover, or did it cover a good cast of characters? Did we know who the cast was? Yes, for characters that are well known, but for these new characters, it did get a bit confusing. That could have been cleared up. That could have been so much better. Did we get the locations of where this took place? Yes, we did. Of course, the planet Sinmar, with the Sinmar species, with everyone who seems to be named Simna. Why don't they just call themselves the fucking Borg? It would be so much fucking easier. Thank goodness Bendis is leaving this comic. And hopefully someone decent can take its place. That actually cares about the character, that actually researches the character, and doesn't do what Bendis did. Because you can't bank on Bendis at DC Comics. Did we get time when things took place? Only one time did something actually get brought up of when it took place. Towards the end, not so much when it actually needed it. And in regards to one of my favourite things that I like to look for in a story is comic references, like a reference to, especially from the editor, but like, where's the editor that's meant to be doing his job on this? Also working alongside with Brian Michael Bendis. Where's the comic references, sort of like basically show where all of this started with the Sinmar, which would be about 3 to 4 issues to bring, say, a new reader to where this story all started. No, none of that at all, because I guess even the editors have given up on Brian Michael Bendis. They don't even want new readers to pick up his comics. You know what? I'm fine with that. Story reading. Well, as we saw, it took place on Sinmar, and it's got a place in regards to its orange type sun, which also affects Superman in some way or fashion. Well, that was sort of retconned again in this. My goodness, these fucking retcons from Bendis are terrible. Retcon on top of retcon, from the early issues to these issues. I must admit, I've probably counted over 200 retcons in his run, including him retconning his own material. But if you do want to pick up something of Brian Michael Bendis that you will enjoy, I'll start off with this. Go pick up his Powers run through Jinx World. I would recommend Jinx World, Powers over this DC Comics Brian Michael Bendis Superman any day of the week. Not only that, I've also reviewed a number of the volumes on the channel. Well, until then, I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you've enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're new to the channel, if you enjoy the content. Leave a comment, because I'd love to know how you would rate this last issue of Brian Michael Bendis' Superman. Oh my goodness. So much word salad, then it makes you want to puke. Hey, it's fine for his own world, but in DC, some things just need a bit of a breather and let the art do the talking. Until then, let's keep it colourful. And I would like to add one thing else. A big thanks to my subscribers, as I've officially reached 150 plus subs. Stay tuned. Next week, a 150 sub special, or the first part of a 3-part special, is coming out in regards to Hitman Reborn. And I think you'll be surprised with the first part. I'm just working on taking care of parts 2 and 3. And as we have now reached the end of this video, you are awesome.